everyone, and welcome back to my channel, To Your Taste. Today, y'all, I am going to show you how to make a walnut buttermilk pound cake. It's simple to make. You do have a few ingredients, but I'm telling you, it's so delicious, and your house is going to smell like a bakery while it's baking. And who doesn't need a good homemade cake recipe? So yeah, for those of you who do not know, I do bake cakes on the side. So I got a few orders of some cakes that I need to bake for Easter. So this is one of the ones that I'm baking. And the ingredients you would need is sugar. I have my pure cane sugar here, flour, walnuts, light brown sugar, eggs. You need butter, vanilla, buttermilk, heavy cream, baking powder, and salt. Okay. Now the eggs that I'm using, I know some of you are like, well, what kind of eggs you using? That's not her eggs. New subscribers, I have chickens. So these are my chicken eggs here. You can tell, a little dirty. But these eggs here are duck eggs, okay? Now, I don't have ducks, but a friend of mine does. And duck eggs are the best eggs to use when you're baking, right? So I know not a lot of people have access to duck eggs. They don't have ducks, or they don't know anyone who owns the ducks, but I'm using my duck eggs. You can use chicken eggs, all right? So that's fine. All right, so now I already have everything measured out besides my light brown sugar, but I'm going to show you how to measure out the flour, just in case, this little show. So that's my flour. That's 2 cups. You need a total of 3 cups of flour in this recipe. So this is already measured out. I have a little flour here, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So you do a scoop and you level it, right? So you're going to scoop it out like this. And then get a straight edge. I have this knife. We're going to move it back, scrape it back, and then you're going to scrape it forward. And that's it. That's how you do your cake, your flour, all right? Okay, all right, so then we take out my stand-up mixer, and then we're going to get started. Okay, everyone, so I have my stand mixer here, and I'm going to push this back a little bit so you can see it. All right, y'all, so we're going to add in our softened butter. I'm just going to move that out of the way. So here you go, 1.5 sticks of butter. So there's the second stick here. And then here is our 3rd stick. And this is softened butter. Clean this off. All right, here's our butter that came off that package. Now we're just going to add in our sugar, 3 cups of sugar. And we're just going to pour that in. All right, and now we're just going to cream this, the sugar with the butter. Put my thing back on. Look. All right, so we're going to cream it together until it gets all nice and fluffy. So you can tell when it's done when it gets all light and everything. If you have to scrape the butter off of your powder attachment, go ahead and do so. You can do this with the handheld mixer, but it may be a little hard at first because the butter is just softened. It's not melted, softened. But use whatever you have. So I'm going to let this go through, and then when it's time to add in the eggs, I'll be back. All right, now we're going to add our egg to this. And I know it looks like it's not coming together, y'all, but it will once you start adding the eggs. So we're going to add the eggs. We have 6 eggs all together, 1 at a time. You're going to make sure it all mixes in or is incorporated before you add your eggs. So we're doing it 1 at a time. All right, so I'm about to add the last egg here. Here's the last of the duck eggs. So we're going to mix it up. We're going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla. This is the vanilla that I'm using. So just pour it over. I'm going to add that in. Alright, so we're going to let that go through. Make sure it's all blended together. I'm going to scrape down. If you're using one of these stand mixers, make sure you start scraping the sides of it and the bottom of it just to make sure everything's mixing together. Okay, everyone, so the egg, butter, and vanilla is done. We're going to do our flour. So you need a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, which I have here. And you need a half a teaspoon of your baking powder. And then use this one here to scrape that off, level it off, and that's all. Now we're going to mix in that baking powder and the salt into 3 cups of our flour, which is here. Whisk that in just to make sure it's all incorporated. Now we have a cup of our buttermilk here as well. So we're going to add the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients to our creamed sugar, starting with the flour and ending with the flour. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, so I have a measuring cup here, and I'm just going to scoop some of this out. We're going to add or turn on our mixer, and we're just going to slowly add the flour. And then those of you with the stand-up mixing, you know how sometimes it kicks that flour back out. Like so. And then we're going to add a little bit of buttermilk. And that's all you do. Flour, buttermilk, just ending with the flour. So I'm going to do that, y'all, and then I'll be back. Alright, everyone, so our batter is done. All we need to do is fold in our walnuts, and then we'll be able to prepare or put our batter in our tube pan. This is a tube pan. I'm going to show you to you more closely. So let me grab the walnuts. We're going to move the stand out the way and stir in those walnuts into our cake batter. Alright, everyone, so now we're going to put our walnuts in our batter. This is about a cup of walnuts. Like I said, if you don't have walnuts, you can use pecans or any other nut that you would think would be good in a cake. So we're just gonna stir that in until it's fully incorporated. All right, we have all the walnuts incorporated into the batter. We're gonna move this aside. This is a tube pan that I'm gonna use. Oops, and it comes out like that. And we're going to spray that with non-stick spray. Pour in our batter. So yeah, I use either this Pam baking spray made with flour, or I also use, I have so many cans of that, Baker's Joy. Alright, so I'm going to just spray my pan with the Pam, and then we're pouring the batter. Okay, so I have my pan all nice and coated. So now we're just going to add our batter to our cake pan. Alright, so I got the cake batter in here, y'all, and I'm just kind of swirling this around and make it even on the top. Alright, so now I'm going to put it in the oven, 325 for an hour and 30 minutes. Start checking on it after about an hour and 15. All right. Show you just how it looks again. And it smells good, y'all. And it hasn't been baked yet. Look how smooth that is on the top. Okay, everyone. So now we're going to do the icing for the cake. And you just need a cup of brown sugar, which I have here. And you want to pack it in. So as you're scooping your brown sugar into your measuring cup, just pack it down like this until you get all the way to the top. That's how you measure brown sugar. And then also you would need a half a cup, which I have here, of heavy whipping cream. You got your skillet here. I'm just going to turn mine down a little bit. We're going to add in our brown sugar. Kind of crunch it down a little bit. And then I'm going to add in my cream. And then you're just going to stir this together. Make sure the brown sugar has incorporated with the heavy cream. And that is your sauce. Like I said, just make sure you get all those clumps out of there. And that's it. You're going to turn it off. And then you're going to pour it on top of your hot cake. Okay, so my cake's already out of the ovens on top of my countertop. And we're just going to pour this icing on top of the cake. And we're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes before we flip it over onto a plate. The cake, that is. All right, everyone. So here's my cake. And here's the icing. We're just going to put this in all over the cake here. All of it. And I just put mine on a plate just in case it try to spill because it's still underneath in my baking pan. All right, that's all you do. And let it sit. As you let it sit, it's going to harden and it's going to go all the way down to the bottom of your cake pan. We're going to let this sit there for about 10 to 15 minutes and then we will flip it over onto a plate. And yes, I did use all of the icing. All right, everyone, so I flipped the cake out from the pan and I have a little bit of crushed up walnuts here. And I'm just going to sprinkle some on the top of the cake. Give it a little bit of burst of, not really color, but texture on it. And I just put some in my food processor. And that was it. I got some all in there. And that is it, y'all. That is it for this delicious cake. Do it again. I'm going to get y'all a close-up as well. Okay, everyone, so this is the close-up of the cake here. Yeah, this would be a delicious cake to make. I should have cleaned my plate up a little bit. To make for Mother's Day, Father's Day, or just any time that you want to feel like making a homemade cake. It is very simple. It does have a lot of steps to it, but yeah, I'm telling you, this would be the best cake for you to make. Walnut buttermilk pound cake. Try this out. I'm going to cut it, a slice out of it so that you can see what it looks like. But yeah, it has my kitchen smelling like a bakery. This is one of the most requested cakes that I get when I bake cakes for an order. So let me grab a plate and we're going to cut it. All right, so y'all, cut the cake. I had to cut a big enough piece so y'all can see it on the inside. You see those walnuts in there? Look at that. And then here's the slice that I did. Look at that. That's the slice that I cut. All right, y'all. So that is it for now. I don't think y'all can see the steam off of it, but it's still very hot. But it is very delicious. In the bottom of the cake, it is very crispy. So if you like that, you like the crispiness on the bottom side of the cake, try it out. All right, so all the ingredients will be in the description tab. Y'all make sure to try out this recipe. I'm telling you, it's very delicious. And if you make this, those people, whoever you make it for, will come back and ask you for another cake. All right, y'all. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Be safe and God bless. Bye.